I've never felt fully accepted. I love being Filipino. The culture, the food, the people, the places, the women. One day, I'm gonna marry Ann Curtis. The only problem is, nobody ever sees me as Filipino, even if I tell them. My entire life, I've never felt Filipino enough. But that's because I'm not. I'm only half Filipino. My mother's Filipino, while my biological father was Polish-Jewish. He passed away when I was just 1.5 years old. So with my father passing, and only knowing a single cousin from my father's side, I know pretty much nothing about being Polish or Jewish. It's kind of sad, but that's just how life is. My mother remarried my stepdad, who is also Filipino. So I pretty much see him as my real dad. I call him Daddy with a Filipino accent, and when I get home, I even bless him. My mother yells at me in Tagalog and loves talking to me about her favorite teleseries. I have a half-sister. She looks nothing like me. But she calls me Kuya. She calls me Robert, a combination of the word Kuya and my name. I guess it's just faster to say. Or maybe it's because I'm only half Filipino. So I only deserve part of the word Kuya. I have titos and titas, Kuyas and ates too. My entire family looks like a typical Filipino with their brown skin and flat Filipino noses. No offense. Everybody except for me. I guess you can say my entire life, I've always felt like the white sheep in my family. Always just a little bit out of place. You guys have no idea how it feels to look through old family albums, to see this little white boy photobombing every picture. I love dinuguan and bagong just as much as the next Filipino. And you know what? I guess you can say my entire life, I've always tried to prove that I'm just as Filipino as a Filipino-looking Filipino. When I was younger, me and my family used to go to the Philippines once a year to visit family and friends. My grandparents specifically when they were still alive. I remember when I was 7 years old, I used to go off on my own. This one time, I believe I was on my way to the Palenque, the local market, to get a sago in the plastic. And, you know, just one of those days. I would hear voices calling out to me, adults and children. Hoy, Americano! Hoy, Kano! Hey, Joe. Like G.I. Joe? It took me a while to figure that one out. In the beginning, it didn't bother me that much, but after a while, it finally did. I remember running home one day to my grandmother's house, crying. I told my tita about what happened, and she was pissed off. She told me that the next time I hear those people calling out to me, to say these words to them. Wala kayo pakialam. Bakal. Teaching. Taga Ternate din ako. Ternate, that's my town in the Philippines. Ternate. And that's roughly translated as, the hell with all of you. I have a big dick. I'm also from Ternate. So, though I may not look like the typical Filipino, I'm just as Filipino as a normal Filipino-looking Filipino. I just look like this. This is just how my face is. So, what's it called? Yeah, my entire life, I feel like I've had to prove myself. But at the same time, I've always had to carry around this pain with me about not knowing my Polish-Jewish side. I didn't really get a chance to get to know my father or that side of me, but I actually made an effort to get to know more about my heritage, my missing piece, that hole in me that I've always longed to fulfill. Last year, I actually ended up applying for Tagalogue birthright learn more about my Jewish side and get a free vacation to Israel. It would have been really awesome. Free vacation, just for being part Jewish. You okay? And at the time, I was mostly in it just for the free vacation. You know? But in my heart, I knew that there was more to it. So I applied for the program. I signed up. After the deadline, I went on the website and I answered some questions. The first question was, is your father Jewish? Check yes. Second question was, is your mother Jewish? Check no. And so on. The questions went on. And then finally I got to this one question that was so loaded, staring right back at me. I didn't know how to respond because I've been dealing with this identity crisis my entire life. The question was, do you see yourself as Jewish? And you know what? I was just looking at this for a long time. I thought to myself, you know, I could just lie. I could just do whatever it takes to get this free vacation, which would have been awesome. But I might be an idiot for this, but I did the right thing and it just didn't feel right. I cannot call myself Jewish, even though I look more that side than my Filipino side. So I finally checked no. I don't see myself as Jewish. But you know what? Maybe it doesn't really matter. My entire life, I've dealt with this issue. But I've had an entire lifetime of love for my family and friends from my Filipino side. That, in a way, that hole was already filled. I just didn't know it. So I can honestly say that I'm proud to be Filipino American. And if there was a website for Filipino birthright, if that did exist, if I can get a free, awesome vacation to the Philippines, and they asked me that question, do I see myself as Filipino? I would check yes.
Yeah.